Hailing frequencies are open. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another game of Star Trek Adventures here with the StreamPunks and Last Excelsior. We are down one Eliza tonight, but she will be back next Monday for Noirville, but we'll get to that in a second. Just kicking things off really quick so we can jump into the game session tonight. The only announcement I have on my end is kind of the big announcement for me. It finally got announced. It is so hard to sit on something like that for as long as I did. But Jody and I wrote Eddie Munson's origin story for the World of Stranger Things, published by Dark Horse Comics. That'll be coming out sometime in early next year. I'm guessing February, but I don't know. I've not been given release dates. So if you want to check out that comic, I'll give you guys a heads up when it's coming out. There's going to be a bunch of variant covers. It was an absolute, emotional joy to write that character, since I think a lot of us kind of really identify with Eddie, and it was nice to give him backstory. So I won't give anything else away, but we hope you enjoy it. So I'll keep you guys posted about details about that. I don't have any other immediate announcements. Does anybody else have anything they would like to announce tonight before we get started?
Ooh, I'll go.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. So I have been doing Start Playing Games. I've had a couple of Aux crew members joining me. Shout out to you, Michael Wade and Bit Rebellious. We do have some open seats on our Sunday 5 p.m. Star Trek game and 1 p.m. Marvel game, all Central Time. So if you'd like to join us, please do. Also, we have been doing this has been really fun. Every morning we've been doing a Callisto 6 rewatch over on my channel because I will find out if Caitlin is in the show. So please feel free to join us for that. And of course, next week, I do believe, is the StreamPunks Presents episode. This is a very special episode, dear to my heart, because my lovely partner, Fox, wrote it for us. They've been heavily inspired by the latest Agatha All Along show. So I have never had someone write a session for me before. This is kind of a weird concept. So you're going to get to see something kind of different. I'm very excited about it. And of course, last Tuesday, we also have Big B and Dash, which may play into the episode that Fox is writing. I don't know. They refuse to tell me anything. So that's everything. I just hope that you join us. It's a very exciting period.
Right on. Okay, thank you. Anybody else got any other announcements for tonight? Nothing, huh? All right. In that case, I would say let's go ahead and jump into tonight's episode of The Last Excelsior. All right, welcome back. As we start off this next part of the episode for the Last Excelsior, let's do a quick recap of where the crew last left off. You guys had made some huge strides in uncovering the mystery of this chunk of space metal that you originally thought was a porous rock that was just floating on the outskirts of this asteroid field. What you've discovered, though, is it is a chunk of metal that has been peeled off from the hull of a Vorcha-class Klingon warship. Now, you're not able to identify exactly which warship it is, just that it is of a Klingon warship, and it's very likely that the damage was caused by a Romulan weapon of some kind. How this all ties into the fact that it also has these antichronoton particles that have been infused into the molecular structure of the metal itself, very similarly to what you've discovered aboard the USS Pride. There's a lot of open-ended questions right now about what the heck is going on here. You're also trying to untangle the mystery of this sort of ghost encounter that you had when you first arrived at the asteroid field. But you've reached something of a dead end with that and only have a lot of conjecture as to what it is that has caused it. But you have uncovered the fact that this metal infused with these antichronotons seems to have a cloaking-like quality to it that causes an instability in the metal itself, causing it to sort of shift and turn invisible right in front of your very eyes. So you've made some pretty big strides in uncovering elements of what's going on. Unfortunately, during the backdrop of this, you guys have been putting on hold orders to report to a mission that at first was billed as soon as you can get there, just please get there. Now, however, it's suddenly taken a turn, and you've been contacted by Starfleet to let you all know the USS Pride is being asked to hasten its approach to the station in trouble. The station, as a quick recap, is Outpost 8, also known as Babysitter Station, in the Mooney Kappa system. Apparently, they have been undergoing, they've been kind of patch jobbing the entire station for a couple of months now and have been asking Starfleet for supplies and personnel to help come maintenance the station because it has been a while since the station has received any love and attention from the outside. It's supposed to be regularly maintenanced every year, every stellar year, but there has been some pushback because of the enormity of what's going on in the galaxy right now, resources being stretched thin as they are. Babysitter Station has become one of those places that's kind of fallen into the not a high priority list. They've been asking for help for a while, and Starfleet, of course, using the USS Pride as the workhorse and the reserve fleet, you guys are doing all of the menial jobs that the other major starships are not doing, which means that on occasion you are handed missions that are boring. You're going to be delivering A to B. You are going to be going here, picking somebody up and taking them elsewhere, and so on and so forth. However, as I've said, this has taken a bit of a turn. And without giving a lot of details, you've been told that while you guys have been sitting here in the asteroid field researching this metal, Outpost 8 has suffered some kind of an emergency and is now requesting a starship to arrive as quickly as possible. As a quick reminder, at Warp 6 from your location, it is a 29-hour trip. And that's where we're picking up. Shortly after you've received the transmission from Starfleet that the situation at the Mooney Kappa system has changed rather abruptly and dramatically. They've received a slight delay of a subspace message from the station. Starfleet does have details for you, though, whenever you're ready for them. What's up, Caitlin?
I was just going to say, I'm just trying to remember. I think we were given an hour to stay here, and then we were given authorization to do maximum warp. That was what I last remembered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've been given full authorization to proceed at Warp 8.
Yeah.
And you have been, it has been urged that you do not spend any longer than an hour where you are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just want to make sure that was still.
Yeah. And that's where we begin.
Oh, and Tech left. Tech went ahead.
Yeah, Tech got in a shuttle and took off.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think Jared is just going to walk over to Tavine, and
I believe I'm in the shuttle bay.
Oh, that's right. You are in the shuttle bay. So I will tell whoever is prepping everything to have the Pride prepped and ready to go upon the return of the of our fighter wings.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just going to watch the drill from the captain's seat. I want to see these birdies fly.
Okay, so you're going to conduct the test, Peregrine fighter test.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. In which case, I'm going to put you on a timed challenge for this. 1 second. There's a couple of things writing at this. Not only in order to complete this mission, not only are you trying to push to see how quickly you can complete the mission, Cadence, but because there is a bigger clock sitting on top of the clock you were already sitting on now, I'm going to set this up as a timed task challenge. And a lot of this is going to be... Okay. Actually, I'm not going to set any rigid what to rolls here. I'm going to see how you approach each situation and let you call what rolls you want to make. Probably most of them is going to be control con, but we'll see how it plays out. Okay, test.
Do we maybe want to get a rally, Captain?
We're starting at 1. I have close-knit crew.
Yes, correct.
I can toss a rally the way your way. So I would patch in to the fighters. And Jared will say, we have a mission of the utmost importance. So it is imperative that you run these drills to the best of your ability. So I expect all of you to listen to your commander, take their instructions to heed, and show me why this fleet, why this wing will show the Federation why the Pride belongs in action. We've got a lot of people to help. Show me how I can employ you to do so. And I will roll on my rally.
All right, do it.
Let's see, that is a presence command. And let's go ahead and roll. Okay, I am going to use a focus because I rolled a 4.
Okay.
And the focus that I'm going to use is team dynamics. So that will get us 3 momentum.
Okay.
Go get them, birdies.
Yeah.
Aye, sir.
All right. There is a chirping, kind of pulsating alarm down in the hangar bay, alerting everybody that the Peregrines are taking off. You see the deck crews immediately start clearing, grabbing equipment, people waving their Goldie sticks and whatnot to get everybody out of the way and direct everyone. You can see the bay doors just start to slide open. Now, keep in mind, of course, it's Excelsior class. So the bay doors of the Excelsior class are actually retro old school. They are very much like the old Constitution class. They're half dome doors that slide open and kind of roll around. So it's this grand exit as these huge hangar doors start to pull to the side, and you see the asteroid field out laying before you. The wing takes off. You guys have already taken position out by the asteroid belt as you start to get into formation just on the outside and getting ready to start your timed task. You do catch sight just off your left wing, Cadence, of the small shuttlecraft flown by Chief Tech's ensign do a quick bank and jump to warp a few moments later. With that, you are now at station keeping. You are down a person right now. So, oh no, wait, no, you're flying, aren't you? That's right.
I am.
Do me a
You have to
favor.
rub it in.
I'm going to spend threat right off the top of this scene. And I'm going to add a trait to you in particular. Okay. I'm going to create, let's see. 1 second here. This is just, it's too good.
No, I want it.
I can't not, you know? Okay, I'm gonna say no, that's too much. Let's do Like,
Whoa.
I'm just like, I'm spending 6 threats and 4 Romulan warbirds jump out of warp, open fire on Caitlin.
Me specifically. No, I'm there. It's not even Tavine. It's suddenly Caitlin's
It's
there, and
not
I get
Tavine at
fired.
all. Okay.
I've been waiting for this moment.
I can't believe they would attack Moss like that.
No.
No, maybe not. Okay. I'm going to establish a trait to the scene. Agile bird, which is going to increase the difficulty of your piloting tasks by 1.
Okay.
Because boy, oh boy, this is going to be different than flying an Excelsior class refit battleship.
So what level is the trait?
It's
Did you
just
did you
1.
s-
So
it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
1.
I didn't include a magnitude to it. So it's just increasing things by 1.
Okay.
You can tell the moment the Falcon, the moment the Peregrine exits the hangar, Tavine, as you start pulling into a flight formation, that part is easy, but wow, this is a very responsive, agile ship. You see now really what's making her so deadly is the multiple thruster control that gives her the ability to do high G maneuvers that would stress test any inertial dampener that you have on board. This thing can spin in 180 in just a matter of seconds if it needs to. It could be very easy to accidentally spin out in a maneuver on this ship.
Mm-hmm.
This is precision flying that you're engaged in now. It's not unknown to you. It's just a little rusty.
It's she learned on small craft, but
Yeah.
like she specializes in big ship
Mhm.
flights. So yeah, no, this
Yeah.
absolutely, I love it.
Part of what makes you so good at piloting, being at the helm of an Excelsior class refit battleship, is you're able to anticipate the way she moves, the momentum that she has when she banks, when she needs to turn to port, starboard. You can actually see a few moves ahead exactly where you need to be and how to get there. You can do the math of what a ship that size is capable of doing and how it's capable of maneuvering. This ship responds at the speed of thought, and you're having to readjust suddenly. As you come into an alignment with the rest of the craft, you can see most of the pilots just outside your windows. You glance outside, you're kind of getting a feel for how they do it. And you can see a few of the pilots seem to just kind of like be lazily and lightly touching the controls. And it's enabling the ships to sort of find their own level playing field. You can tell they're being delicate. So
I think if it's possible from where we are aligned,
Mhm.
I think to be eye contact with Cadence, and Cadence, you just see her do just like a big centering breath, and looks to you for leadership.
All right, pair of Griffins, school bus, form up on me. Let's do it, and let's do it fast.
let's go save a bunch of. What are we saving anyway? You hear your Tellarite say.
The most imperiled buoys ever in Starfleet. Let's go.
You hear Morant's silky voice on the other end as the Betazoid replies, "Oh, good. I've always wanted to give CPR to a what is it? A pod? A buoy? Something?
I
like that?
bet you did. All right. I'm going to take first buoy and start lighting this course up for us.
Understood. Copy that." And you hear Marceau immediately chime in and go, "And despite the fact you're all nervous and you're all feeling a bit like a hotshot, please keep channel chatter to an absolute minimum. If you talk out of place, you're going to answer to me when we get back." You hear everybody click on the receivers. You see green lights up on the board indicating everyone acknowledging the signal without having to say anything. And with that, everybody forms up on you, Cadence. You are the wing commander. Everyone just gets into a V formation right behind you.
All right.
It's on the captain's order of when this clock gets started.
Griffin 1 to Big Bird. We're in position.
This is Big Bird. All right. Just very quietly, he's going to take bets with a few people on the bridge. All right.
Okay. A couple of the Ox crew kind of smirking, like chime in. everyone betting on Cadence's wing. Avrali, of course, bets a few shifts because Avrali is currently the one that the sensor information is feeding through back to the Pride.
All right. Well, I think Tavine might be a surprise. All right, Mark.
There's a burst of this gorgeous blue ionic energy exploding out the back of the engines of these peregrines, and they go from 0 to full impulse like that, just rocketing straight into the asteroid field at incredible speeds. Right off the bat, as you guys enter the asteroid field, you don't have to make a roll, but you are going to have to spend momentum because you're entering into difficult territory. So to move through this territory, you're going to require momentum spends. Now, if you don't have any momentum, that's totally fine because you can actually make a piloting check as an action to get momentum. However, that is going to take a slice of time as an action away from what you're doing. This is not anticipated. Kind of figured this is kind of getting your bearings and getting a map and being able to move through this terrain. So it's up to you, whatever y'all would like to do.
Is the
You
momentum?
could, of course, I was going to say, last thing, sorry, I just remembered. You could, if you want to save time, you could give me threat to generate momentum and burn that to fly through here. You have the option. Otherwise,
Is the momentum per bird or one for the whole wing?
no, it's
or
one for the whole wing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for the whole wing.
Yeah, we have 4 currently.
It's also worth noting that with the exception of Tavine and Cadence, nobody else in the wing can spend momentum.
Of course not.
So you guys basically get to decide how the wing operates in that regard. Okay. So with that.
And Tavine, I mean, anyway, don't you have the talent? I mean, for difficult terrain.
I do actually, yeah. Hold on. Oh, I think maybe that drop. I think that might drop.
Oh, to a minimum of 1?
Yeah, where this is to get us through the momentum spend to enter difficult terrain. Push the limits is when I attempt a contest that has increased in difficulty due to the environmental condition or damage to the engines. I reduce the difficulty by 1 to a minimum of 1. So it doesn't bypass this roll or this spend.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. So we're spending 1. We're down to 3, and that'll be Cadence asking the pilot on the Pathfinder, feed us your data.
Okay.
You're the one who's built to get us through difficult terrain.
Yep. And that would be Lieutenant Dalora Morenth. All right. So she's going to immediately start feeding you guys back data. The way that's going to go is I'm essentially going to let her function as something that reduces the difficulty of this here. Check out this raw data and analysis assisted. So in a scene, characters aboard the Pride to perform a task. Is the ability cannot be used if Griffin Pride is suffering? Nope, you're not. Rerouted sensors. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
May roll for assistance.
She's
okay,
non-mechanical.
Cool. 2d20 for the assistance roll. I dig it. Okay, in which case that is going to be a Raleigh making a quick check as that is being fed back. Sensor data being fed from your sensor scout up into the point. It's working very much like an old intruder aircraft where this sensor sweep of this fast moving peregrine fighters, y'all are zipping through these asteroids and banking around X-Wing style. All that information is being fed back to the Pride. The Pride is starting to read all that information and using her own sensor suite to enhance that scan and get a better map of the territory. I'm going to do a quick roll here. If somebody would like to roll for the Pride, you get to roll 2d20 as opposed to 1. For the assist.
Yeah, Noir, you're up there. Cap's still on the bridge.
Cap's on the bridge.
Okay. So the Pride is going to make her sensor science check.
Ooh,
and Tavine is going to, not Tavine.
Raleigh is going to make. Scout. Oh, wait, yeah.
On the bridge. Yeah.
Make sure to get good pictures, school bus.
So I have to roll under 11.
Got 2d20 though.
We roll. That's a 7 and a 9.
And if Raleigh rolls a 15 and a 12.
Happy Pride.
I think that's
roll Pride.
That's 1 success for Raleigh. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Sensor information starts to come back immediately, and you see a buoy not far from where you were all located in just short range. What's up?
What was the difficulty on that roll?
Difficulty was 2.
Okay.
First one was 2. Yeah, so 1. So right off the bat, you guys see a ping, and the moment it appears, you hear an automated, very heavily modulated computer-styled voice coming from the belly of your Peregrine fighter from Peaches going, "Beacon detected. Would you like to dispatch me in order for me to find this beacon at a more accelerated rate, Commander?"
Go for it, Peaches. Show me what you got. Griffin 1 to wing, dispatching Peaches.
Copy that. Should we dispatch ours?
Hold for subsequent buoys. We're going to send one at a time.
Copy. Like a torpedo, there's this brilliant red light as Peaches fires out right in front of you. You see, in perfect synchronicity, you see all of a sudden an uplink established with your computer console and flight path information being established right back into the Peregrine. Peaches is taking the sensor information that is being fed like a telephone cord, going from the Pride to you to Peaches, and Peaches feeding it back. So if you guys had a really great telescope that you were searching around for, Peaches has become a bit of a microscope and is taking all that information and looking in the fine detail. And you notice Peaches, having been something that's completely unbound by a lot of the inertial limitations of flying around in a Peregrine, Peaches almost looks a little silly in front of you as it spins out. You see the oval thing start to sort of spin in every direction. The tip of the probe begins to basically just spin in a star pattern. Almost looks like it's lost control, but what you see is Peaches is rapidly pinging sensors in every single direction as it just starts flipping out, giving it the appearance of like this brilliant red photon torpedo having been fired off the belly of your ship. As it spins out, it immediately and switches and hovers in place and begins to fly at a hard angle down and to the left. You see it bank diff like hard and feed back that flight path information to you.
All right, school bus, you're up. Leapfrog me. Go for second buoy, feeding you nav data.
Copy that, Commander.
Nods toward Tavine.
All right, Tavine, you're up. You are going to make a control con check.
Okay.
Would normally be difficulty 2.
Mm-hmm.
It is now a difficulty 3.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this is to catch up and link up behind Peaches.
Okay. So does the Griffin does the ship give you a bonus, or does it roll separately?
Oh, the ship works just like piloting the Excelsior class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you'll use the ship stats, and that'll basically function as an assist. It's basically like, yeah. So the ship is going to make you're going to make a an engines con check for the ship, and then you're going to make, or if you want somebody else to roll it, and then you're going to roll your stats, the control plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cadence is your wing. Would you like to roll for the sensor spout?
Will do.
And could I buy a die? Can I spend a momentum just because I've got a little bit more going on here?
No, I'm just kidding.
Just because then I get cautious. We might.
Oh.
Quick question. I feel like this shouldn't help actually. My trait or my talent that lowers the. I don't think it counts here because I deserve this. I deserve that making it harder on me. I do have a focus in evasive maneuvers and helm operations.
Evasive maneuvers probably would not come into play here, but helm operations definitely will.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Evasive maneuvers is very specifically trying to evade an attacker.
Evade, yeah.
Or if you're in a meteor shower or something like that. So the difficulty of this is 3.
Okay. So I just rolled 5 successes.
Okay. Show off.
And I get an assist from the.
Okay.
You in fact do not.
Sorry. Okay. So that puts 2 back in the momentum pool.
All right.
Yes, you're at 5.
You keep up with Peaches with ease. The one thing that seems to be really smart about this particular design of a probe is Peaches is doing much what you do in your head, Devine. Peaches is anticipating where the flight path is most likely to take next in moment split second decisions, and is feeding it back into the Peregrine's console. So all of a sudden, this is kind of like feeling like you're flying the Pride all of a sudden, as you bank around and dip underneath large rocks that are slowly tumbling through space. The moment you get underneath one of these huge porous stones that are just kind of rocking as it has been here for billions of years, you see a blinking light underneath one of the crevices of one of these great pieces of rock out in the open. You locate the first buoy with no problems whatsoever. It is currently, looks like it is lodged onto the surface. All you need to do is having to locate it and sync up with it. It takes a few moments, but syncing up with the buoy indicates a rescue.
Buoy found, Commander.
All right, Marceau, you're up to leapfrog.
Copy that. All
School
right.
bus, deploy your beacon so we can get the next point.
I need to name mine. You see it fly out underneath the belly of her ship, and she takes point. Marceau just banks up and gets into a formation right in front of you. You can tell more than anybody in the entire wing, save for perhaps Sultani, you can tell that Marceau is the ease and the comfort she has piloting. She is definitely a veteran combat pilot. She takes right next to you, slides into formation. A few moments later, as that little pod spins out, information starts getting fed back. And I'm going to make a quick roll for her, just to give me some guidance on. Cool. Okay. All right. With that, if anybody would like to roll, how does your wing here is going to function? Okay. Scramble.
They don't really have
Make a presence command check at the difficulty 1. If successful, you can spin 2 momentum and allow a vessel to benefit from signature support ability action. Okay, just checking. All right, with that, she is going to feed back the information. It goes back to the Pride. A few moments later, you see the Pride pings back the information it's getting, and she begins to hone in. You see her bank off. She has a hard bank to the right. It goes deeper into the asteroid field. You can already see where it's going as the rest of the wing begins to fall in behind her. They weren't going to make this easy on you, and you're not surprised as she starts to head deeper into what looks like a more dense area of the asteroid field. Here, the rocks are not huge and mountainous. Here, they are dangerous and small. Small as in like the size of shuttlecraft. Some of them are the size of like a warp nacelle. Tumbling around out here at that size, they become a little more agile and a little more dangerous, and lots of dense spaces in here. Less room to maneuver.
Morinth, you're on deck to leapfrog. Get up behind Marceau.
Copy that. Flies up behind. In which case, I'm going to spend a point of threat. And the initiated scan starts to take into effect. Nothing immediately is being fed back. No probe information is coming back in. And you can hear on the comms, in the open comms, you can hear the frustrated voice of Devar just going, come on. Where are you? A few moments later, you can hear Marceau saying, where are we at, Devar? I'm looking. Give me a sec. We're having a little bit of trouble here. Clever bastards. This asteroid field is so dense. Probe is having a little difficulty trying to detect which one is the probe and which one isn't.
All right, let's get more angles. Peaches, go on in. Take an extra look around. Find the probe.
Understood, Commander. This little spinning probe once again just flips cartoonishly towards the direction of Marceau's Peregrine. What you see is kind of interesting. As Peaches takes up point, Marceau's probe immediately starts to synchronize with Peaches, and the two of them start to pulse back and forth as they're flipping around and looking. And you suddenly hear Devar go, wait, I think I got something. It's real weak. It may be a false signal, but it's worth a shot. Screw it. Let's check it out. Better than nothing.
All right, take it in.
A few moments later, you see Devar pulls a bit of a maneuver, and you can sense the impatience in his flying as the Peregrine dips up around, rolls over onto its back, and then flies and just does a quick, sharp angle downwards, disappearing behind one of the asteroids. A few moments later, you hear, okay, I got it. A little bit of a graze here. Wait. I've got it. Confirmation. I can see the ping. It's coming from inside of one of these rocks. Gonna have to close within 50 meters in order to get the sync on this thing. Anybody want to go flying into a mountain? No? All right. Guess that's me then. I gotta name my little proby thing too. You see it launch out the belly of his Peregrine. It stops flipping immediately and synchronizes. You see it kind of hone in on this large gap in this huge rock. A few moments later, it just goes down into, and it goes, all right. Activating transporter tags, preparing to sync up. There's a pause, and you hear uncertainty in his voice as he goes, that's new.
What do you got?
Commander, this probe is actually feeding us back simulated information indicating that there are 20 life forms that we're to rescue here. How do we handle this?
You're an evac specialist, aren't you?
I can transport a few of them directly to the Pride, but I've only got 10 transporter tags. That'll leave us 10 more that we'll have to rescue. We could try to get the Pride to come in to the asteroid field and back us up. Or the Pride could try to beam directly from where she is. That might be the fastest course of action, but it'll be a little more difficult because of the interference inside the asteroid field itself. Your call, Commander.
That signal amplification is exactly what your little Griffin is built for. Griffin 1 to Pride, we have some transporter signals we're going to need to relay on through you. Please stand by for beaming.
I was told to act the part, so... Oh, yes, we are struggling. Please, hurry. Send those codes. We will have everything waiting for them upon their arrival. We've been hit.
You don't... You're a little surprised by the sudden movement to your right, but Evrali instinctively basically throws themselves up against the console and goes, all systems are still working, and smiles at you.
Oh, I was acting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just contributing, Captain. Sorry.
Oh no, you've done it. You know what? That's a great call. Like, he's gonna fail to like a console explode.
Hata says, you all seem to have rhythm. As the commander observes all of you, he just turns and looks back and acknowledges. Okay. Information gets fed back to the Pride. Simulation begins to run. You immediately hear from main engineering coordinating with the transporter room 1 as your chief engineer starts to coordinate. Pavin starts to immediately coordinate with Zoe in transporter room 1. Takes a little bit of time, but simulation begins to show green lights across the board, indicating that it has a higher indication of successful beam out rate. In other words, it looks like these little probes that are enhancing the transporter signals of those who need to be rescued are working just as they were designed. Not only do the transporter tag simulations actually work quite well, but feeding back the data directly to the Pride, you almost have something akin to a long-range transporter buffer that enhances the signals. And as it starts to activate, it's almost like playing a game of hot potato, where the transporter signals are just being tossed to the next one, and fed straight back to the Pride. it's a little, it feels a little rough, but also the practicality of it can't be denied. Another ship would have to struggle or take their starship inside the asteroid field. It's in its early stages. You can tell you're in beta right now, but it's working. After a few moments, transport completes, and you are very pleased to see, Captain, that the USS Pride beams up 20 simulated survivors in under 4 minutes. Just beams one at a time from a difficult location. You hear a green light go across the board, 1 buoy remaining.
Good work, Commander. We've got 4 life signs on board. Keep it going.
All right, last one.
I'm leapfrogging up.
You hear Rulon say, I'm going to take position right behind you, Commander. And the trill just slides in. All right, you've got point. There's one more beacon out here.
Yep.
Go ahead. Go ahead and do your search.
Okay.
I believe the censorship being on scene allows for an extra assist. We're correct for sensor stuff?
That's true. And also, because you have your probe dispatch right now, the difficulty is going to drop down by 1. So this is going to be a difficulty 2 task.
Okay. To find the probe or to get to the probe?
To locate the probe, the final probe. You do have you do know that these were all randomly selected and that their locations have been hidden from you all.
Yes.
You
That
are
I
deeper
very
into.
much recall.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Okay. So how are we on time? Because 4 minutes felt like a lot.
Right now, y'all are there's really no red line. It's how fast can you do it, and how fast is fast has been deliberately kept from you all.
All right. Then I would like to use Daring Con on this roll in order to run my ship in a pattern a lot like what I saw Peaches do, but on a slightly larger scale. It's going to pull a hell of a lot of G's to do.
Yeah.
But it's going to get me a nice big viewing angle.
Okay, so here's how I'll rationalize this. I will say you can make that check. If your entire wing is doing this, it is going to.
Yeah. This is.
It's just you?
Because I'm the one on point, so I'm the one looking for it now.
Okay, in which case, how much momentum do you all have?
5.
Okay, to me, that would be an excellent case for momentum spin to drop the difficulty. Because it wouldn't make sense to have you, because it is a high, it is like a precision maneuver, but I don't want to have you roll twice. So I'd say if you burn a momentum.
I have the agile trait on my ship.
Oh, that's true. What is that going to give you again? Agile trait?
I mean, so it can make the impossible possible, or it can drop the difficulty by 1.
Oh, so it does it automatically. Yeah, I would say just go ahead and drop the difficulty by 1 automatically then. Since you have that trait. Yeah. So in which case, the difficulty 2 will become a difficulty 1 for a scan.
All right, fantastic.
As you cast a wider net.
Tavine, do you want to give me an engines con at 8, please, for my stealth reconnaissance ship?
So so does the sensor a closer look thing come in where you get 2d20 for assistance instead of 1 when the sensor ship is in?
That'd be if we're rolling back through Pride, I think. This is.
Okay, it does say Pride, but it says on the Pride, and then later it says only 1 ship may benefit per scene, 1 vessel per scene. Only
one vessel per scene, so Pride has benefited, so stealth ship can't. Got it. This is my ships.
Cool. Let's see.
Okay.
All right, good. That'll do. I'm spending for cautious, or for cool, excuse me.
Okay.
So that is, and I'll take flight control system, small craft. Oh, I have a focus in flying.
You have a
things.
flood of focuses.
So that'll
see focuses.
be 1, 2, 3, 4 successes for me.
4 successes. So
No help, sorry.
you do a quick dance across the L cars, hitting thruster, 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 as you begin to get a momentum starting to spin this Peregrine fighter. Anybody else who would be on the flight deck with you right now of this ship would probably have to start staring at their feet in hopes that they don't lose their lunch as the star field in front of you begins to spin wildly in front of you. Everyone else from the outside watches multiple thruster fires on angles as you watch Cadence's Peregrine begin to spin almost in perfect tandem with Peach's. This little microscopic scaled probe that is just whipping around and just spinning out of control. The two of them are almost engaged in this sort of like flat spin chaotic dance of tumbling and tumbling and rolling and tumbling as you see again and again thruster fire. Cadence is doing an excellent job of not only spinning the ship, but keeping the ship in control, which is taking some expert flying as it is constantly adjusting and trying to compensate as its entire 360 angle gets spun again and again and again up and around. You can go ahead and make yours. That sensors check will have, you will have spotted a possible pinged location. It is within the what would appear to be a very sparsely populated area of the asteroid field, but from what is coming back to you, you're reading what would seem to be 4 signals as opposed to 1. 4 buoys begin to flood back into the sensor output. They're all kind of in the same area. And because you've got Peaches launched, Peaches immediately tells you, Commander, I find it probable that only one of these signals is the correct signal, and that we are being fed sensor ghosts. Probably an attempt to simulate sensor interference in a highly dangerous situation.
All right, Griffins, everyone who hasn't launched a little probe, get them on out there. We're going to try to clear the field of all of the decoys as quickly as possible. Each person call out which signal you're taking. School bus, feed your sensor data back to Big Bird and see if you might be able to help find the real one.
So everyone fires off their sensor pods. You hear, as the sensor pods are fired off, you can hear Rulon go, oh, that's not good. I have a malfunction on my sensor pod. I'm spending 2 threat. You see, the moment Rulon says that, you see the sensor pod that she fires just kind of spins and keeps spinning, and it doesn't have an active signal on it. It looks like it is actually out of control and is spinning off into the asteroid field. So I'm spending 2 threat, and I'm adding a lost sensor scout with a magnitude of 2. That's going to be the rest of my threat for the scene. So,
one to Big Bird, if your sensor jock has an extra probe around, one of our little drones seems to be malfunctioning, and it's going to need something to keep an eye on it till someone big and beautiful with a great big tractor beam can come pick it up.
Copy that, Commander. Are we looking for a spare, or are we playing catch? Imply tractor beam.
Catch as catch can, please.
Raleigh, fire up the tractor beam. Let's go catch our renegade sensor.
Yeah. So what I was going to give you some context for the trait that I just gave you guys for the scene. These probes are irreplaceable. So if this thing gets lost, that's it. These are
Hence asking immediately.
prototypes. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so you launch a sensor probe in order to study a situation or a phenomenon in more depth. Select a single zone within long range, and you launch a probe that flies into that zone. Sensor operations, major actions may determine range from the. Okay, so it's just the probe can be targeted as a small craft and destroyed if it takes any damage. Oh, I can just do it. It's a sensor at sensor operations. Okay, so science basically, Avrali immediately, quickly, with amazing efficiency and speed, programs a probe to launch, and a few moments later, you hear the quick alarm going off here on the bridge, indicating that the ship is firing a probe. A few moments later on the view screen, you just see this bright red streak launch out from the USS Pride towards the asteroid field and do a quick arc. And Avrali is going to roll. Roll for Avrali.
I would like to aid.
Sure.
It is just going to be, all right, now, officer, don't let that console get the best of you. You got this locked in.
Okay.
And
can
we've
roll
still
for
got a
pride.
closer look active.
Yeah, closer look. So I can roll for Pride. Pride gets 2 dice to assist instead of 1.
Nice. Okay. Oh, yeah.
What
For
is
the rest
Pride
of the
rolling?
scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Go ahead and roll.
What
I'm gonna.
What is Pride rolling for this? The sensors?
Yeah, it's going to be the same as it was last time. So it should be sensors
was
plus science,
Science
Sensor
sensors.
science.
Mhm. and then Avrali is going to make their 2 dice. Okay. Oh. Okay, so Avrali is going to succeed. How did?
I got 1 success, and because I assisted with advisor,
Mhm.
if Raleigh needs, they can re-roll a d20.
Okay. Then
Pride gave 2 bonus.
I'm going to go ahead and have Avrali roll one of those d20s and see what I can get. A crit. So I roll a 3. That's gonna hit Avrali's.
That's
what's that?
6 successes. 6 successes then.
Yeah.
I want to spend some of that bonus momentum
Mm-hmm.
on the trait blazingly fast. We've got this together and we are coordinated.
Yeah.
This is going real quick and real smooth.
How much bonus momentum do we have? Because since this is a time task, we could also spend 2 momentum to reduce time so that you guys get it done faster.
We were full.
We were
So-
full
Y'all are
and
juiced.
now
Y'all
Yeah,
are quite
spend.
juiced.
Take it. Yeah. I think we should.
you know what?
Does-
Forget my trait, let's do it twice. It's a 2 spend per segment, right?
I think so.
For time
I'm not.
tasks?
Yeah, I think there might be. I think the rule might say you can only do it once.
I'm gonna
Let me
double check it because I have it right here.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Okay, this is going to be.
If not, then we're going for a record.
Y'all are definitely zipping
Captain, respectfully, we were
Okay.
always going for the record.
through. How dare you? Okay.
Oh,
Momentum
plus we actually
spend.
just have the momentum, whatever it is. We'll spend it.
I mean, yeah, you could even just use that. You can actually just use that bonus momentum to completely remove the lost sensor
I
scout.
was gonna say we should do
Yeah.
that.
You've got so much momentum at this point. You could just kill one of
see
these traits right out of the
Yeah, we
gate.
see.
Die, trait, die.
Die.
Step down,
Which is,
step down.
yeah, that's
Pew pew.
pretty handy considering. Okay, momentum spin. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so yeah, you can do it once.
Yeah.
So we spend our bonus from
So-
that good roll.
4 to get rid of the 2 traits because it was at 2 stacks,
Mhm.
and then another 2 to reduce time. So that's a
Yes.
total of 6 momentum spin.
Yes.
And how much of that roll does any of that roll, because that was done by Avrali, does any of that sit as floating momentum or does that not?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think it does because Avrali is technically a supporting character.
Mhm.
And since that's the case, Avrali kind of behaves just like a powered down PC. But give me 1 second to double check that because that rule has changed a little bit over time with second edition.
And then what was the difficulty on that roll?
Difficulty for this roll was 2.
So we have
And we-
4. If we get it, that's 4 floating momentum.
So
we would have had
okay,
4
so here
float.
we go.
I just want to make sure that I'm keeping track.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So then
So essentially, we had full, then we
Supporting
got 4,
characters,
so
okay.
that's 10.
three
So
enabled players.
2 for
Down to
the
4.
2
So we're
for
down
the
to
traits,
for the minor
2
actions.
for the reduced time. That would bring us to 4.
Major
left.
actions and
If-
controlled.
if this, yeah.
Yes, 1 for the money, and then but it was 2 for the show.
2 for the show. Yeah. However, it would be 3 to get ready.
Well, that's how it's supposed to go. Oh,
Oh, interesting. Okay, we'll have to keep track of that.
it was always raised that it was 3 for the pitches.
Well, I learned that as a child, so I assume that's not what I would have learned.
Bridge to sickbay. Our captain is in danger. We need to hypospray up here immediately.
God, I'm so sorry. 3 to get ready. I like that better.
Okay, so this, thankfully, we've actually been obeying this rule, but it says an uncontrolled supporting character, in this case of Raleigh, may not attempt any major action that includes a task with a difficulty above 0 unless they were ordered to do so with a direct action. So technically, direct actions were used. We're not really actually using a like that. We're not tracking actions right now. It's not like a combat scenario. It's more like kind of a little more freeformed here. But direct actions have been role played, so I'm taking it this.
Okay.
Uncontrolled characters may, however, use the assist action to benefit player. It doesn't say. Further, uncontrolled characters may be treated to use trait, task, okay, blah, blah, or reduce the difficulty of a task, which I knew. Complications and injury. Can they generate momentum is the big question, because I had this answered, and I just want to make sure. So I think they only generate momentum if they are controlled by a player at that time.
That's what I was
In location,
figuring.
if a player has multiple characters in a scene, directly control. Characters not under direct control of a player cannot perform a full range of actions and tasks be available under the character. Instead, they can perform the following. Okay. Yeah, I think for right now, until I see otherwise, I'm going to rule that they cannot generate momentum unless they're under direct control of a player.
So then that knocks us down to 0 momentum if we still want to take that spend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. All right, I'm into it.
Okay.
So we've got rid of the lost trait.
Yeah. So basically,
we spent down 2 to do it, and then we knocked down time by 1. Is that what just happened?
Yeah. So yeah, you're doing this a lot faster. So basically what I'm going to say is that your probes are able to indicate which is the correct sensor probe. That probe itself has actually sent out a scattering of false sensor data. So it's not using any kind of advanced technology. The simulation is basically feeding back to your computer and telling it you've got to pick one as the pilot. So like a video game, sort of. You've picked the correct one using the probe. However, I will say well done, because I was planning on using that lost probe. It was be on a collision course with an asteroid, but yet done robbed me of that. So that would have been a nice timed task. That being said, the probe is located immediately. And yes, is spinning wildly out of control, but harmlessly outside of the asteroid field and easy to track. So the pride can pick it up at any time later. You're watching it fly 1,000 kilometers an hour down the y-axis, and you're like, I'll get it in a second. So with that, you guys baking around one of these large asteroid fields, this last probe was cleverly hidden behind one of these rocks, same as the others, but really it was the sensor ghosts that were going to throw you. Cadence, you can totally tell that this was a bit of a shitty little trick being played. It is likely that something like this would happen, but it would only be done in a scenario where there was direct countermeasures being taken against being detected. And you're getting a sense from this, Cadence, as you're pulling up on the probe, you see Peaches locking in on it. You're getting a sense that the Admiral might be preparing you guys for the possibility of having rescue situations be in combat zones or in dangerous situations where somebody needs to get in there. That's giving you some context as to why he really wanted you. Just from this situation, your combat experiences, you remember so vividly some of the incredibly nasty traps the Cardassians and the Jem'Hadar would leave on these rescue missions. It was not uncommon for the Jem'Hadar to take complete control of a Federation starship and send out an SOS from it, and then ambush anyone who showed up looking for it. You get the impression that Rollin remembers that quite well, and he's testing you.
All the best. It means any subsequent wing like this is going to have their work cut out for them because they're not as good as my wing. But make the drill as hard as you like, just means our score is going to be ahead.
You see the board light up green, indicating you've synced up with the probe, and immediately the time clock stops. You see the clicking stardate time sync up on the view screen underneath everything that's playing out in front of you, Captain, as it comes to a dead stop at 8 minutes. Griffin Wing just rescued over 30 people in 8 minutes in a high maneuver, dense asteroid field, and one that included sensor shadows. If the brass isn't impressed, they're not paying attention.
Griffin won to Big Bird. Well, I wish we could have had more passes at this. Probably could have gotten that time down.
We'll make time after our mission. Everybody get back in. We're going to be making our way to the station, and I'm pretty sure I can whip up some drinks to celebrate.
All right. You heard the captain, Griffin Wing. Well done. Thank you for joining us, School Bus, for this drill. It was lovely to have you. Don't forget to Jad, get that dang drone back. If the Pride folks don't give it to you.
On it. Devar, you hear Devar, the Tellarite's voice just go, "Hey, nice flying there, Tavine."
Not so bad yourself. This is a very effective wing. Pleased to have gotten the chance to fly with you.
Cadence will fly up alongside Tavine and give a little roll.
You get because you're next to her, you can see her go like look up the thing that she does all the time when she's like shenanigans kind of a thing, like shenanigans in the workplace sort of a vibe, like okay. Mm-hmm. And there's a little like you get a little one back.
You get a wing dip from the wing commander.
Mm-hmm.
You all hear suddenly, almost surprising, there is this loud kind of underneath the hull of your ship as the probes just dock back into place. You see immediately confirmation light up green as the probe connects into its docking port. Also at high speed, so yeah, not too shabby. The kids over at Daystrom coming up with this little thing with duct tape and whatever parts were laying around.
Box of scrap. Good job, Peaches.
Thank you, Commander. And with that, Griffin Wing, having undergone her first test with a stellar success, I did have a time written down here based on how I wasn't worried about whether or not you would succeed or fail. I was worrying about how long it was going to take you to succeed if I threw some stuff at you, which I did. So I had it here based off of the intervals of how much each action was going to take. I had what would happen if you hit 10, what would happen if you hit 12, what would happen if you hit 15. Anything below 10 is a stellar success, and it's going to be outright success. 10 minutes was the baseline.
All
10
right.
minutes was considered good, and if you had gone above that, it would have been all right. And then after that, it would be like, you need some work.
Everything in my body wants to go for 7.5. Everything in my body.
You got the two of the biggest overachievers on the ship out here right now.
And they only get to do this once.
Yeah.
Just
like wanting biting the console, like, let me do it again.
Yeah, especially because they didn't give us the number, as far as we know.
It's true. When you guys, when Griffin Wing enters the hangar bay of the USS Pride, you all see, can't hear it, but you all see the deck crews coming out, Operation Yellows, and in their flight suits, and everybody applauding as the Peregrine fighters, all one by one, just touch down. The hiss is like smoke begins to roll out underneath from the thrusters discharging, and you see the hangar bay doors start to close. You can hear on the comms, just from down below, checking in with some of the flight, you can just hear the ambient cheer from the hangar deck on comms, Captain.
I will ping I'll ping Cadence and go, if it's all the same to you, I'd like my helmsman back. We have places to be.
Oh, please. Honestly.
Don't worry, Commander. I
Yeah.
won't be making a habit of it. You get an elbow knock. You get an elbow knock on the way, like very, not shoulder checking, but like a gentle like elbow knock on the way past.
Oh, if you have 1 minute, I'll grab the elbow for just a bit of a quick.
Yeah,
spin.
yeah.
Very acceptable flying, Commander.
I appreciate the opportunity. Not much elbow room in those.
Look, at least it doesn't fly like a semi-truck.
I believe I was recently given permission for maximum warp, so I better go do
Ah.
that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Enjoy
Mhm.
your blinky lights while we celebrate with some real pilots and some real ships.
There's just hooting and
And-
hollering.
They just clap you on the shoulder and then push you off. Go
Here
get.
she goes.
All right.
And Cadence will turn back and start hugging, congratulating folks, and marveling to Santos that no one blew up. It's almost like we can fly. Almost.
Santos doesn't have a reply to that. He's just got a big smile on his face. He just gives a nod. I mean, but he is uncharacteristically quiet at that. He seems to be a bit speechless. Just kind of nods. No snappy comeback, no nothing. Just a slow nod.
When Tavi makes it to the bridge, Jared's just gonna jokingly say, not at risk of losing you to one of the small birds, are we?
Not a chance, Commander. I'm much more comfortable up here.
We have headings locked in. We just need you to take your seat.
That I can do.
Okay.
And she will sit down and start putting together going through the we're not leaving a station, but there's making sure check the procedures before takeoff.
Okay. Sitting down, you can see that you've been authorized by Starfleet. Real quick, before this takes place, as the scene is starting to wrap up, Captain, I just wanted to give you something, it's not necessarily a trait, but an overview of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, at warp 8, 29 hours becomes 8 hours. That's how fast you're flying. So you're clearing some light years pretty quick. That means this is going to time out in such a way where the crew is going to have to pretty much wrap up their shifts, get to bed, and then get back up and get ready to go with what's ever waiting for you. So downtime is going to be a must during this travel period. With that in mind, plotting a course and jumping to warp, taking the Pride out of here is going to be a difficulty 0 task. So if you would please, let's generate some momentum. Keep in mind, you will be losing one at the end of the scene as you all warp out, but let's generate some momentum for what's coming.
All right. Can I have a bonus die just because I'm back in my regular helm?
Yeah, you're back at the regular helm. You don't have to be punished anymore
That's true.
for stepping into Cadence's ring.
Would y'all mind if I had used an ox point for a bonus die? Just so I can generate us some momentum?
Not
you
at
earned it.
all.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Lucky number. Pick one between 1 and 13.
2.
2. This Ox Point comes to you from Leo Ambermain.
Thank you. Be my co-pilot.
Thank you, Leo.
All right, and then this is control, right? Control con?
Control con, yes.
Yeah, helm
And then-
operations. Okay.
Yeah, and then the Pride is going to be engines con.
Captain, you want to roll pride?
Difficulty is 0.
Roll pride.
I think engines is the Pride's biggest stat, if I remember correctly.
Oh, it's tied with weapons.
Beefy battleship.
Grandpa is fast and angry.
Yep, beefy battleship.
All right.
That is
Love that for her.
4
that's-
successes from Tavine.
and
Okay.
The Pride is gonna roll 1, I'm guessing.
Yep.
And let's go ahead and get that in there. We have to roll under 13, and we rolled a 2.
Okay, that will crit.
Yeah, we are literally maxed out.
You are maxed out.
We went from 0 to 6 in one roll.
Yeah. I mean, I had you make a helm engineering check.
Mhm.
That's like asking the Sally Ride to make a science sensor roll. Like, it's just going to go well.
Mhm.
All right. With that, the Pride turns hard to starboard, and you put the asteroid field behind you. Entering the coordinates a few moments later, the engine nacelles light up a brilliant blue, and a few moments later, she leaps to maximum warp. And you all see the star field in front of you, in a brilliant flash of white light, suddenly just becomes a corridor of blinding stars flying past you, like streams of light. We have now entered a downtime area, so we can take scenes as you choose. In 8 hours, there could be a lot to do. I can also give you a heads up of some of the things that the crew who are taking downtime are up to right now. And if you want to have scenes with anybody, those are available. The crew right now, no joke, I randomly rolled this thanks to the Lower Decks core book. But right now, one of the shifts, which is currently those who are having some downtime, have reserved the holodeck open for a holodeck escape room, and are currently playing through that right now. And then, of course, now, if I'm not mistaken, did you guys take? Hold on, did you guys? Let me look at the Pride sheet here for a second. Oops, I have 2 Pride sheets. You never have enough Pride. I said it for you.
Roll
I feel
pride.
like we know where Hata Logic Puzzles Ben is going to be on this downtime.
So the Pride, if you remember correctly, Pride doesn't exactly have a 10 forward. The one thing the Pride definitely has that it can be considered part of her charm is that the crew area into which people get to hang out in the lounge, it's nothing like one of the grander, bigger scale starships. It is very much a revised version of what it always was as an older starship that's approaching a century old, which is essentially like a galley area with no cooks or real food. It's just a 4 replicator unit inside this galley area. There's no bartenders or anything like that, just tables that look out the back. It is, in fact, one of the screens that we have for the Pride. So you guys
10 backward? It looks out backwards?
Yeah, it looks out it looks Hideo literally made us one. It's similar to the break scene that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So the break scene, the command room looks out over the back as well, and a few decks just below that is actually the galley area where the crew hangs out. It has the exact same view. So you can actually look at the back of the ship and see the 2 great nacelles glowing blue as you were all flying at warp right now. So whatever y'all want to do, if you want to have a scene, whatever you'd like to do. Otherwise, we can just jump straight to the next chapter.
Oh, the Griffin pilots have committed an entire takeover.
Oh yeah, they're being loud and arrogant, as is their
They
right
are
right now.
Raucous and obnoxious.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I'm just imagining them listening like the hardcore, like listening to like Waka Flocka.
They're listening
going
to-
hard.
No joke. I'm going to tell you right now because I marked this down in my notes. But Lieutenant Gondavar, the Tellarite, is a fan of Klingon acid rock.
Yes.
and has been recommended and is being that dude who is constantly telling people, you've got to listen to this. This is the best band. Do a song called Stovocore's Broken, and it is the most metal song I've ever heard in my life.
All right, you load it into the Flight Sim playlist. Next time we're drilling in the holodeck, I'll try it out. If I can fly to it, I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
I think Jiren is going to start writing a triathlon program for the holodeck competition.
Okay.
For the crew to take part in. Even though a triathlon is what running, biking, and swimming, it's going to be a quad. It's going to be 4. There's going to be sparring in there too. Just kind of shoehorned it.
Okay.
And Commander Tavine, would you care to help me ensure that I configured this program correctly?
I can do my best, Captain. I'm not a holo expert, but I sense that's not the part you're looking for assistance with.
You start to wrap up his hands. No, that's not the part I need help.
You're not going to box with a Vulcan, are you?
Oh, we are. At some point, that's happening.
It can happen.
This is that point.
It can happen now if you're down.
This is after like after shift.
Yeah, I'd imagine that we have somebody relieving us as we're
Sure.
doing a thing and then getting some sleeps and then waking up.
Let me go ahead and before the scene takes place, let me go ahead and give you, because this could possibly give context to the rest of the scenes that play out in the in-between.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to give you, Starfleet has also fed you what the situation is and what they're reporting from the station. So I'd probably give you a heads up of what you're flying into.
Heck yeah.
So what you've all learned is that Outpost 8, as a quick reminder, Outpost 8 is not a station that is in orbit. It's a planetary station. It's located in the skies of MK5, which is an ice giant in the system. They are it's high atmospheric, and it has a unique position inside the system, which allows it to study a lot of stellar phenomenon because it takes place inside of a stellar nursery. It also allows them to study the extraordinary qualities of this particular ice giant. Now, it is an ice giant, which means this is a very volatile planet. It is a super giant, which means the gravitational pull of this planet, being as big as it is quite terrifying. And this particular station has used its technology to study the atmospheric changes and the effects that all of the solar energy and solar storms and whatnot have upon the planet for years. What you have heard initially, this mission was they didn't necessarily need resupply. They kind of just needed some repairs done and some manpower to show up because their staff, they can only keep repairing things so much before they need to call in the Federation to help. It's been over a year since they were last maintenance by any kind of ship that came out. It's a high precision space station that's in the atmosphere. Okay, so here's the situation. In the last time that you guys have been contacted, the situation has gone from we need folks to help us maintenance the station to finding out that apparently one of the gravimetric stabilizers from the station completely blew out. The report reads that this station constantly experiences massive ionic storms, and it has technology that allow it to weather those storms without a problem. However, it essentially has a monsoon season, and it is currently in the midst of that right now, the equivalent where the ionic storms become particularly violent, and it usually is in response to the extraordinary amount of solar radiation that is being jettisoned into this particular system. The result is this particular gravimetric device going out when it did caused a cascade failure. And right now the station is listing at about 30 degrees. To make things worse, this station has something called a kite. It is an auxiliary station. Kite is the nickname, but it is essentially an auxiliary part of the station that allows it to detach and descend further down into the skies, where the gravitational pressures and the pressure of the sky itself increases dramatically, but it essentially allows them to tether a part of the station lower into the atmosphere so they can continue to study all the storm and weather patterns and how they're being affected. It's operated without a problem this whole time until all of this happened all at once while it was untethered. So what you're reading right now is there is a station that is listing in the upper atmosphere of a storm-ridden planet, and it is towing another part of the station even further down. And that station, they have no idea what the condition of the people are on board that part of the station. They're not able to get any kind of comms through because of the ionic interference is wreaking havoc. And right now, all of the available power that they have is being diverted to keeping the tractor beam on that station so it doesn't fall to its ultimate destruction. And it's causing an enormous amount of stress on what's still functioning to keep the station in the upper atmosphere. Essentially, it is just a storm of bad luck and catastrophic failures happening all at once, which is going to happen when you wait past a year to maintenance a station like this. So it's pretty intense. There's already a footnote, Captain, that the station... Starfleet has already run through possible scenarios for the USS Pride to undertake and for a rescue, and they're leaving it completely up to you. But they do say two likely outcomes is it's probably going to require a manual repair on the hull of the station itself to replace the missing gravimetric units. And if the Pride wants to try to use its own tractor beam to solve some of this problem and enter the upper atmosphere, Starfleet warns that these ionic storms will absolutely decimate your shields and could cause significant damage to the power conduits on board the Pride. The Pride can withstand some of it, but your engineering teams are going to have their hands full. You will basically, after your shields go down, the Pride becomes a lightning rod. So a bit of a challenge ahead of you. You're starting to spot.
Heck yeah. If Tavine is cool with it, I'd love for them to be sparring in the holodeck, and Jared is literally saying everything that we just heard.
Reporting. Yeah.
I'm going to give you 3 traits right off the top you're going to find waiting for you when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is ionic interference 3.
Okay.
The next one is deadly winds 3. The winds and the altitude of where the station is located usually have a sustained speed of about 600 kilometers per hour. Station instability, the station is listing about 30 degrees, which means a lot of the station staff has had to resort to rationing their gravity boots in order to get around the station.
Station instability is what?
It's just 1. Yeah, unless I throw a number at you, it's 1. Yeah. But intensity is 1 on that. Deadly winds is 3. Ionic interference is 3. The traits for what happens when you go down to where the substation is, unknown. But it can't be good.
Yeah. Jared's gonna toss you the mitts to catch. And just so ionic storm, deadly winds, spacewalking, not an option, and we need to do repairs. If we, it's just like going in. If we,
you're going hard, and Tavine is like very like mildly standing there as you go at it, like at the pads.
I think the first one he like pulls back and like
he raises an eyebrow at you.
He just doesn't budge, and then he goes hard, and then he swings as hard as he can, and just nothing. It's like,
how tall is Tavine? Is Tavine roughly built the same as you?
Yeah. It was like I think I'd said like 5, maybe a little taller than me, like 5'6" ish, maybe
5'6". Yeah, so maybe comes up to your shoulder, Jaren. You can get the impression as you are throwing your fists into her palms that it's kind of like hitting a brick wall a little bit.
Yeah.
For reference, in the book it says, where is it? Vulcans are 3 times as strong as a human of similar size and weight due to homeworld gravity.
Yep.
And I can confirm that the book says that Bajorans are just like humans. So
Yep.
like, I don't
Dude.
get any special sauce.
There is a scene, I'm just going to say, there is a scene in season 1 of Strange New Worlds where Spock realizes he's going to have to cut loose if he's going to save his crew. And oh my God, he is terrifying. Yeah.
So yeah, Jared is like, once he confirms that, okay, the Vulcan thing is true, he just starts going full force, and he just stops. And the storm will tear down our shields. You got any ideas?
I'm primarily a Helms officer captain. Science and engineering aren't entirely my strong suit. But perhaps there's something we can do at a distance. It would require getting in contact with them, but it sounds like comms might be a difficult thing to navigate. If we can get in contact with the kite part of the station, maybe we'd have better luck
At least
finding a solution.
At least we'd have more information.
Never a bad thing.
Communication. Let's raise that on the priority chart. And for the record, I think that everyone on the ship is far more intelligent than just their position. And he's just gonna keep throwing.
I don't negate my intelligence, Captain. More my expertise. She puts a little pressure back on one of the hits. Not hard, but like enough to, not to hit you back, but like to put like just like a little bit more resistance.
Okay. How's flying the bird? Any insight from the experience?
They're smaller than I thought, but it wasn't wholly unpleasant.
Do you believe there would be a benefit to having them scramble once we get to the station?
I worry for their structural integrity if our shields will struggle, but the fighter that gave us an extra leapfrog of transports, maybe there's something useful there.
I'll raise that.
Hey, Commander Cadence to Captain. My wing were specifically promised captaincy drinks, and they are dying of thirst. You're dying of thirst, right, pilots?
I'm going to go to sickbay in about 5 seconds.
We're in 10 backward. Hurry up and get in here. We're having a party.
Heard and received. Let's unwrap.
You did promise them, Captain.
I did promise them. I'd like for you to take a beat. Think of any ways in which the birds might be useful in this situation in conjunction with the Pride. And I'll have Cadence do the same, or Commander Cadence do the same.
You get an eyebrow raise at that correction.
I'll be making my way. Like it just shuffles off.
Okay.
I'm a nosy big sister. It's my job.
I know. Like I'm playing it. Yeah.
And you don't know yet, right? You don't know that they're siblings?
No.
Wait, that has not.
No.
I love it here.
How would they know?
How would they know?
How would they know? All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick pause here. Take our 10-minute break. We'll be back in about 10 minutes. So get refreshed and get ready because, oh boy, there's a station that needs y'all's help. We'll see you in about 10 minutes. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Let's go ahead and jump back into where we left off, which is you guys had just finished up something of a boxing match where you were kicking back some ideas of what you could do when you arrive. As a quick reminder, as we were jumping into the next scenes here for the crew of the USS Pride, just to give you an idea, this is an order, the mission directive, which you can call upon as a value, which is to render aid to Outpost 8 and ensure the safety of the personnel.
Okay.
And secondary mission objective is to rescue the outpost itself. Starfleet's much more interested in the people. They cannot be replaced. But this station has a high priority. So those are the only two objectives that you've been given. So y'all are still en route. If anybody has a scene or anything they'd like to do in prep or anything they'd like to get done before this mission begins to take place, do let me know.
Yeah, Jared is going to come to the shuttle bay with a couple of bottles of synthahol.
Oh, are you guys drinking in the shuttle bay? Are you on the?
I did tell you we were in 10 backward.
Oh, I'm going to 10 backward. Actually,
cool.
there's a scene of Jared by himself in the shuttle bay, like, right, 10 bay.
He's still getting used to the ship. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Looks up from his data pad and looks and goes, Captain. And you just go, right. Turn around and leave. All right, so you head to 10 backward.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as the doors open, you enter a room that is filled with a lot of positive energy. Everyone is very loud in here. There's a couple of folks that walk out past you and just, Captain, they nod to you as they move past you. You see the crowd that is Griffin Wing all cluttered together in the very center of the room towards the back, near the main window.
I will make my way to the Griffin Wing and Captain drinks from the captain as promised by the captain.
Everyone stands up in attention as soon as you approach them.
Captain on drink. Deck.
Stand down. Everyone, please.
All right, everyone relaxes a little bit and takes their seats again.
Kicks out a chair.
Jared will take a seat and pour himself a glass and a flute and just to Cadence go, you've got our mission briefing, correct?
Aye, sir.
Ionic storm, high winds. This is going to be a lot. Do you think that this is something that you'd like to have your wing attempt to assist the Pride with?
I don't know. You think 8-minute griffins could handle something like this?
I mean, maybe 6-minute griffins could.
Should let us go more than once. I mean, how badly do we really need to save this station anyway? That's not what you're about, Captain.
Saving lives? Starfleet? Could never.
Not if we could get a faster time.
As soon as this mission is resolved, if the Admiral grants it, I would like to give you all a second shot at that run.
That's my captain.
Stop. Like, I'm like people like patting. Stop. Don't touch me. I have Commander Tavine thinking of ways in which your wing might assist the Pride in this mission.
Don't expect her to find much use for small craft. Never has.
Well, that's part of all of our mission, is to find a use for small craft. And you will need to be working in tandem with the Pride, so I think the two of you need to learn to collaborate more often and a bit better.
Captain, she flew my ship well.
So imagine what could be done with practice.
Absolutely not. I will imagine no such thing. I am only picturing our glorious victory. I cheer someone. I'll get you a briefing before we arrive.
Good. Your fleet is going to save a lot of lives.
And fast.
So work with Big Bird, huh? All right, everyone. Enjoy, but be ready by, and I give the time where everyone should expect to be mission ready. And
It's a chorus combination of "I, sir," and "Ay, sir."
he starts to walk out.
You
Takes
bump directly into Bragg, Bav, Pend. As you pivot to walk out, he was approaching you just as you got up to walk away. This Tellarite bumps right into you. Oh, there you are, Captain.
I didn't expect to run into you. I thought you'd be writing more sensational stories.
Well, when one's been told, it's time to go find another. Which is why I've come to find you here drinking and having fun when there's something dangerous happening.
No, this is called improving morale of the ship. One of the things that, if I recall, a certain reporter said was needed on the Pride. I think that your advice is well thought out. So thank you for giving me the idea.
You're welcome. Maybe you take some more advice, or at least answer a few questions, like why the Federation is ignoring an entire colony of war refugees right now.
The Federation as a whole has the responsibility of looking at the biggest picture, the bigger picture. But I can tell you this, the foundation of what we do and who we are people that are looking to help. I can assure you that it is fully within the intent of everyone that wears the badge to save as many lives as possible. And every second that I personally can't get the Pride to that locale to assist is a moment that I regret.
So this has nothing to do with the fact that the war refugees are all Cardassian.
That'll be all for now. Thank you.
Is that the quote I should give?
Far be it from me to advise a reporter on what's best for the story.
All right. I'm sure our readers will appreciate that insight.
I wish them and you well.
Wish the Cardassians well, Captain. They're the ones who are on the brink of starvation right now.
Hey, Captain, sorry to get held up with my pilots. I'm ready to head up to the bridge for the briefing if you need it.
Thank you, Commander.
All right. Excuse me, to Bragg, and then hustle the captain out.
Captain follows, and at the turbo lift, he doesn't say anything, but fists are clenched.
Okay.
Free press is a Federation value. Free press is a Federation value. Free press. Federation value.
I wish them well.
Ooh. Captain. Language.
It's not that I... Stops the turbo lift.
Comes to a stop.
I do wish the Cardassians well, and that is the truth. It is a hard truth and one not easily said, but it is truth. No one should suffer for the choices of their government. I can't say it without the anger, and I know that that's what he would write. Hits the turbo lift button again. straightens up. Thank you, Commander, by the way.
Of course, sir. I don't need to sell it. Do I? Do I need a briefing?
Well, since you're on the bridge anyway.
No good deed.
That's when he's just gonna make a beeline out of the turbo lift and head to his ready room to just simmer.
All right. Anybody else like to do anything before you arrive at location? By the way, just to give context, in case you were wondering if you missed anything, there has been no notification sent to the Pride, you or anybody else. You do have the option of looking up under like Federation intel services and seeing any mission postings or even reports of what the hell he's talking about if you want. Or you can assume that maybe he's making shit up. It's really, there's no context here. You've not heard anything about this, Captain.
Yeah. I think that's what he's doing in the ready room, is he is just checking to see if there's any. I think, honestly speaking, and above the table, I think Jaren wasn't sure if he actually did care, and that's what has him more in his head than anything. Like, if it came down to it, would he save them? And the answer, the answer can't be no. Yeah,
you're having your Kirk Klingon moments in Star Trek 6 right now.
Yeah.
You have personally suffered so much from a particular culture that you're like, I know it's there and I know I care, but damn, ow.
If I say no, I'm just like them.
Go ahead then, and if you're going to investigate this, go ahead and make me a check real quick. It's going to be this is actually going to be a difficulty 1 and not a 0.
Okay.
It is going to be buried, but it is not impossible for especially somebody who has the clearance of a starship captain to find. So I'm going to have you roll. So first of all, the computer roll here is going to be for the Pride. This is going to be computer's command. Whoever wants to do the assist.
Okay. And I
take it.
Guess he'll roll insight command since he's using his command to get this info.
Yeah, that tracks.
So he has to roll under 16, and he rolled a 10 and a 17. I think Partham doesn't want to find out. Like, if I genuinely don't know.
I'm sorry, I can never remember the roles you gave. You said computers.
Computer's command.
Command, okay. One success from the Pride.
So bank a momentum here. Captain, you do find it, but you're not wrong. Bragg was being a little misleading. They are not technically war refugees, though they were originally war refugees. Got to remember, the Dominion War was not yesterday. That was something close to, it was half a decade ago, at least more at this point. The first thing you note is that it is a group of Cardassians, but what it notes is that they were, many of them were members of the Cardassian resistance movement. And it reads that as part of their, during the war, one of them became a leader of an underground to get citizens off of Cardassia. Specifically because the Dominion had started to instigate some pretty draconian laws against the citizenry. One of the things that's not really talked about is how the military caste became the god kings of Cardassia. And if you weren't in the military caste, you were fodder. It's very similar to how the Romulan Star Empire operates now, but on a much more polished level. So he originally was part of an underground and peace movement. But what you note is that his file, this guy, first of all, his name and his detailed background is flagged as level 1 classified, which you have access to, but he's flagged. And it states that this leader is in fact responsible for getting a lot of Cardassian citizens off of Cardassia, and they were resettled in the Federation.
I am going to look through those classified files.
That's a momentum spend for obtain information. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. You dig a little further and get a little more information that the Federation has on him. He is a Cardassian by the name of Juret Dal. Apparently spent a lot of time as an informant for the Federation before the Dominion War, and was actively trying to undermine the military caste of Cardassia, who apparently during that time, before they even made an alliance with the Dominion, this would have been around the time of the occupation. He was actively trying to undermine the Cardassian high command, and was feeding the Federation information. He was their inside guy. In fact, is one of the people responsible for giving the Federation such vital information that it helped disarm what would have been an intense conflict along one of the borders, because the Federation and the Cardassians did have a war before the Dominion War. So he is an active advocate for peace, and apparently he got found out by an organization called the Obsidian Order and fled Cardassia. The Federation basically hid his identity, and what you also get is that during the Dominion War, he served mainly as a consultant and as intelligence, but at that point, a lot of it had been cut off, and he refused to fight in the war. Just completely cut off. His colony is located near the Federation Romulan border, not terribly far from the sectors of space in which you are all traveling right now. And you can already see, without having to read the rest of the file, that it is undergoing a lot of the stress that a lot of the colonies are undergoing right now. You're seeing a very familiar story to which you're coming up upon with the space station right now. And once again, it is giving you a snapshot of the enormity of what is taking place in the Romulan Star Empire and the ripple effects it's having across the galaxy right now.
I think Jiren looks at this and just mutters to himself, "By the prophets, must you speak in the words of Brog?" And then he's just going to check to see if there are any Federation ships closer to them than the Pride.
Let's do something kind of fun. Roll me a d20. Let's find out.
Ooh, okie dokie.
Let's roll a 1d20.
Oh, that's okay. Here we go. Rolling, and I got a 2.
Really?
Yes. Are some people gonna die?
Okay, a 2.
Hey, Lo
Okay.
is good in this game. Lo is good in this game.
Roll me. Okay.
Roll a D100.
Wow. That's. I mean, you keep in mind that's basically a 19, because this is Star Trek. So a 2 is. Okay.
Lo is good.
Wow. In that case, wow. Okay. Roll me a d20 again and just tell me if it's even or odd.
Okay.
Wow.
How do you like it now?
I rolled a 19.
A
Like
19?
all my rolls are on app.
Yes, the USS Sally Ride is currently the closest starship to that particular area of the Romulan Federation territories right now. The ride is currently documenting, because of the ride's advanced sensor suite, it is currently plotting and scanning all of the stellar activity that is taking place and plotting. Its mission currently is plotting models for the for a lot of the stellar disruption that's going to take place in the next 15 years. I cannot believe you rolled a 2.
I can't not do this. Like, this is the fanboy in me, so I apologize, but Pride, patch me through to the Sally Ride.
Okay. Okay, hold on. I gotta I gotta jump into my timeline here.
Pride of the
Wasn't
Glass.
I had a list of starships, and I was like, "What the fuck? I'll put the Ross and the Pride on this list, and the Ride on this list." And okay, okay.
Don't fight the exile.
This would be Talon.
Let's settle it.
Talon would be, yeah, because Martinez would no longer be captain at this point in the timeline. So this would be, or no. Martinez is still captain. Yeah, Martinez is not retired. Martinez doesn't retire for like another 10 years.
Yeah, no, it's a hot. It's,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Even has the same.
fair enough. So you get communications, and popping up on the view screen, you see the face of Martinez, Captain Martinez of the USS Pride. You see behind him is Commander Janelle Rue sitting in the command chair, and the whole command staff currently on the bridge. As you see Martinez's face pop up on the screen, he goes, Captain Jaren.
Of the USS Pride, it's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too. Are you in command of the current Last Excelsior class in Starfleet in operation?
That is in fact the case. She's
Oh, wow.
an oldie but a beauty.
I hope you're calling to brag, because those are bragging rights, Captain.
Unfortunately, I'm calling for business, not pleasure. I've gotten word of a Cardassian, a number of refugees that are in need of assistance, and I send over what I researched, except the classified part. I see that you are the closest Federation vessel. We have a mission of our own, but after it's done, I can make my way to assist if needed. But I thought it wouldn't hurt to reach out and see if you needed a hand.
Give me 1 second. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm literally having to open my old Shield of Tomorrow files right now. I did this to myself when I put it on the table, so I'm not gonna be.
You did do this.
Yeah, I did do this. I'm like, I better pull up my sheets here because, okay. Here we go. There we go. Wow. I still have the ship sheet and everything. Okay. There they are. Okay. Martinez nods and he says, "Oh, let me take a look at this." And he turns and walks back holding a data pad. He hands it over to Commander Rue, who takes it and starts looking at it. Rue leans over and mutters something to Martinez. And they seem to confer. They seem to like talk to each other for a moment. After a few beats, Martinez he walks over and says, "Yeah, we actually have our own mission right now, Captain, but I think we can maybe have a sensor malfunction that would require us to maybe stop into space dock and repair, and that could take us right through that system."
Glad to hear it. And should you need any assistance with that malfunction, feel free to call. The Pride's always ready to help the ride.
He nods. He says, "Will do, Captain." Clear skies.
Jaren out.
Into communications.
All right. And with that, I think he's just going to plot a course for after we resolve our situation with the station to the locale of the refugees, just in case the ride does call back needing that help.
Okay. So you basically send out the request.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't opened this file since 2018. I was like, do I still have all the character files? I do. I have everyone's write-up still. I could not remember, you're going to hate me for this, I could not remember Martinez's first name. I was like, starts with an R? I can't remember. We never said it. It's Raphael. All right. So, yeah, closing transmission. I'm going to go ahead and make a note here.
I don't know why, but I feel like I could fight that Rue person. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you were just
the
kidding.
Sally ride?
Just like how you thought you could fight a Vulcan? Is that
You know
we're
what?
the
You know, like,
same?
hey,
We're
I
feeling
don't, you know.
I mean, the only reason why the ride would have something of an advantage is just because she is twice as fast as the Pride, but also because everybody on that ship is like the equivalent of level 20 at this point.
Oh my God.
But otherwise, oh God, I wouldn't send the Ross up against the Pride. The Pride is scary. The Pride is scary. It's a big scary ship. Even though she's an Excelsior class, like again, she punches above her weight. She hits like a battleship.
Grandma's got anger issues.
Ross and the Ride were not battleships. They were designed for something else. So
I
it's
like
not
Ross's chances.
Ross's scale by default is pretty good, but yeah, because the Ross would inevitably try to tractor beam you.
That
And
is
then
true.
you just have to fight your way through a tractor beam.
Yeah, good luck. Strength 5.
Okay. With that, sending off the request. There's more to this file, but it's above captain's classification. But you see in this, Captain, it looks like you may have actually assuaged a bit of an issue here, but it is another example of how the Federation is being forced to make some pretty draconian priorities right now. No one's being forgotten, but people are having to be deprioritized.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, as a quick side note, once again, Brog was indulging in some hyperbole there. No one is starving. They, like everybody else, are just having issues with their replicators, their power units, everything else, the maintenance of the colony. It's a relatively new colony, and it's a little shorthanded. So it's a little blown up, but yeah.
Well, Martinez seemed like he had everything well in hand, and now he's got my number.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything they would like to do?
I would like to ask for elaboration about you giving Martinez your number.
Turn of phrase.
Sure was, Captain.
If you guys had a microphone a little close to Martinez and Janelle, that would have been Martinez saying, we could probably fake like a sensor malfunction, and Janelle looking a little irritated and clenching the jaw and being like, it's not exactly regulation. And my ship doesn't have sensor malfunctions.
That's true.
You're literally a sensor platform with warp nacelles. Yeah, anybody who could have read those two would have seen Janelle going, whatever you say, Captain, but just like,
Eric, I have no idea what you're talking about.
yeah. Okay. Anybody else have anything they'd like to do?
Tavine is looking up just like what to expect in that area as far as flying. Like if we can't get in there without damaging the ship, she just wants to know what's up, like what she's flying into.
I'm holed up in the conference room, sitting on the table doing a similar thing.
Okay.
Captain said I had to be on this deck.
I will let you build a trait. I'll let you build a trait here then.
Cool.
We'll have to do momentum spend for it. But instead of having you roll, I'm going to have you build a trait, because whatever information you get from this is going to help you prepare for what's coming. Cool. So I would say if you want to benefit from this, I'll let you burn 2 momentum to get a trait that'll help you.
Yes.
Okay. So the big variable here, first of all, the wind speed outside the station, there's 2 things to know. The wind speed outside the station is not dangerous yet. Now, it kind of contradictory to say how are 600-kilometer-mile-an-hour winds not dangerous. The station has a buffer field around it specifically to allow to compensate for turbulence. So it's actually possible to mag walk across the surface of the station with it's still windy out there, but it's not going to blow you off the side. Not saying it's not dangerous, but it's not 600 kph winds. That's the first thing to note. So the station does have compensation for that. But with regards to the flying aspect of it, it's not the main station, it's the kite that's the problem. And what you're seeing is, even though you don't know what their situation down there is, the kite registers that deeper into the atmosphere as you get closer to the planet. First of all, the pressure increases dramatically. Its gravitational pull is increasing. It is punishing where the kite is currently operating. If their shields go down, that station will slowly be crushed. It'll be compacted before it ever hits the planet's surface down about 800 kilometers below, however far down the crevices that they're above. The thing to look out for, ionic pulse waves. So apparently, one of the anomalies that the kite has been monitoring is ionic pulse waves and ionic plasma storms. So this is particularly troubling for you. And the reason why, as somebody who has studied Helm, like Helm is what you do. And as somebody who has studied difficult situations and dangerous plotting points when it comes to piloting a starship, this is one of those things you normally do not have to worry about because it only takes place in the upper atmosphere of a planet. An ionic pulse wave is essentially like a massive ball lightning in the sky. And they can appear without notice and race across the clouds like a giant photon torpedo made of ionic plasma. And they hit just as hard. They could knock conceivably, if a ship didn't have its shields up, it could possibly knock a ship out of the sky. It could potentially cause a starship to lose all power if it gets hit. It would all come down to the engineering crew and the pilot if they took a hit. The ionic plasma storm is the next bad news. The ionic plasma storm is essentially like ionic plasma lightning. And down here at this level, the specialized shielding that the kite has is what protects it. Anything else that goes down there is going to start suffering shield damage right off the bat. Ionic plasma basically works like incredibly powerful lightning that is also made of a burning plasma discharge that causes hull damage and shield damage. This lightning is specifically dangerous to shields. And when the shields drop, if it starts striking the ship, it'll do hull damage to the ship. It is hellish down there.
Tavine to Chief Pavanivan.
Yeah, go ahead. What's up, Lieutenant? What can I do for you?
Where we're headed presently, it looks like we're going to be going up against a lot of ionic energies. Is there anything that we can do to compensate ahead of time from the engineering standpoint, as far as shields or defense mechanisms? It seems like we're going to have to be getting in pretty close, and I'd like to give us the best shot of avoiding damage if at all possible.
Ionic energies?
Ionic pulse waves and ionic plasma storms seem to be abundant.
Stand by. You hear whispering like he's reading something out loud to himself. I don't see anything here on the... Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh.
In atmosphere, unfortunately. Yes.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, thanks, Starfleet. Yeah, that's important information. Sure. Yeah, that's important information. Okay. They might have sent us that with a highlighted marker on that thing. Let me think. I'm going to have to get back to you.
Perhaps bring in science. This isn't quite my specialty, but figured we could get some extra eyes on it.
Yeah, I'm going to go wake up my staff.
Apologies for the rude awakening, but
it
seemed important.
It's important, Lieutenant. I prefer to be a functioning starship and not a crumpled lightning rod falling out of the sky.
As do I. Best of luck to you.
To all of us, Lieutenant. To all of us. Down in engineering, about 20 minutes later, he shows up, front of his uniform unzipped in a rather kind of casual demeanor, walking and holding a cup of coffee. As Beta Shift moves around, he sets the coffee down with a few of the command staff, including our lovely supporting engineer next to him, and he says, all right, everybody. So here's the problem. We're flying into an ice giant. We're flying into an ice giant that has lightning storms. We're flying into an ice giant that has lightning storms and high gravitational fields and plasma storms and ionic energy that takes out shields and vaporizes the hull plating of a starship. So, even if it's not an engineering solution, I just need solutions. How do we channel all of that energy and keep it from burning out every delicately repaired plasma conduit that Chief Tech was just kind enough to fix for us after traveling through half the goddamn quadrant? We just got the Pride operating at a minimal level here. I need answers. So let's start putting our heads together. And with that, the camera kind of pulls back as the engineering team leans over the central console and starts drafting up plans to figure something out. All right. Anybody else have anything they'd like to do?
I'd just like to specify that when Tavine's call finishes up, Cadence is going to be just wandering out of the conference room over to like the bridge replicator, replicating a drink or something, going back in.
Okay.
No, yes, we're doing the same thing. No, I will not be engaging with you.
Correct. That is absolutely correct. I do have a very similar version of the same homework because naturally we're finding fairly similar things. It's only my plan looks more like fly into lightning, be awesome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, of course.
And then a little bit of a doodle that depicts
Okay.
both phases of this plan.
Step 4, profit.
The last thing that I would like to do before we get there
Mhm.
is to, if I recall correctly, Tech went ahead. So I would like to see
Right.
if he might have any ideas, or if he's already started working on something.
Okay, Hata sends out a transmission to get in contact with Chief Tech.
Mm-hmm.
After a good 10 minutes has passed, Hata reports back to you. He does not appear to be answering, Captain.
That's worrisome, but we'll worry about it later.
Wheeling around in their chair, Avrali said, well, knowing Chief Tech, probably did just fly into a giant lightning storm. Could just be having trouble establishing communication. Or knowing Chief Tech, probably trying to repair the entire station on his own by himself. Maybe even driving the people to wanting to jump off the side.
Both would put him in a perilous situation, and I just want to confirm that he is safe. But we're going to need to get some rest, folks. We're going to be there soon. So,
Unfortunately, Captain, I apologize. I did rouse the engineering team to give us a little bit of an edge ahead of time. I'm worried about the structural integrity of the ship.
If that's a concern to you, then it's a valid one. You made the right call. Thank you, Commander.
Okay. You guys are going to gain a trait, shield modulation.
Do the little Mario pose. Woo! Yeah.
So Pavin with the engineering team spends only a couple of hours, does not want them to stay up too late. So has them for a couple of hours. They come up with a way of modulating the shields based on a lot of some of the tactics that have been used in the encounters with some of the more dangerous species of the galaxy of the past 15 years, learning how to channel a lot of energy hitting into the shields and feed it out so that it doesn't reach the core or any of the plasma conduits inside. Interestingly enough, a lot of the technique that he is using in order to channel the power actually comes from notes from Chief Tech Lenatus, who has had to operate 2 active warp cores on a ship that can barely handle that kind of power coursing through it at all times. You guys, basically what that's going to do is it's going to lead to a damage reduction. So if y'all are struck by any of the lightning, it's going to make it a little less intense. But it is a mild solution to the problem. When the solution comes back to you, it's late at night, and you receive it in a message board posted in your quarters as it pops up on your datapad screen, Lieutenant. Pavan basically leaves a note for you in the morning, and the read is basically, this is the best we can do on short notice. We're going to keep working on this in the morning, but right now, if the Pride has to go deep and fly into atmosphere, the best you can do is dodge. Limit the contact the Pride is going to have with those ionic pulses. And if you can do that, they can handle any damage the ionic plasma storm doles out. But it's the pulses that are going to be the scary problem. Because if the pulses are like rain and hail levels of ionic energy, the ionic pulses are going to be like cannonballs. They're going to be the problem. I'll update you if we come up with something better. We're not stopping, is what he says.
She sends back a luckily that's one thing I know how to do. Thank you, Chief. Rest up. And then she's going to forward this packet to Cadence.
Pretty much senior staff is going to get this in the morning, and you guys have your senior staff meeting in the morning.
Yeah.
But I know that Cadence is puzzling. Has been puzzling.
Puzzling.
Cadence will want all available resources, and so
Okay.
we'll just pass it along.
Extremely will. That senior staff meeting's going to be funny.
Yeah.
Just because I'm asleep on the table.
Yes.
Yeah, that early morning, the first person to arrive for senior staff that morning is actually Dr. Conway. She walks in with a couple of cups of coffee and walks right past you, Cadence, and then pauses. And then takes a couple of steps back and looks down. Then gently sets down the coffee tray, considerate bringing in already previously replicated hot coffee, and just goes, Cadence.
Get to the work nacelle.
You left a little bit of drool.
Thank you, doctor.
Hands you a cup of coffee.
Thank you, doctor. Morning.
Good morning. She just leans back against the table with you and doesn't ask, doesn't say a word, and just starts sipping coffee with you quietly.
I scooch off the top of the table.
Okay.
I think Jared walks in at that point.
Okay, followed by the rest of the command staff right behind you, everyone kind of arriving at the same time. Conway stands up and she smiles and says, I brought coffee for everyone. This is going to be a big day for the ship, so I want to make sure we're all feeling alert, responsive.
Thank you. I'll take this for later. I replicated myself for Racticino. I'm sure everybody got the reading this morning.
Everyone's looking at their data pad. Looking at the data pad, the person that seems to stress out the most actually is Avrali. But you can't tell what Avrali's concerns are because they're keeping it between them and the data pad. They're having, it sounds like an annoyed conversation.
Who's winning?
It seems like, it almost sounds like the data pad didn't bring the correct order for Avrali is kind of the tone of the conversation. What do you mean ionic storms? It's an ice planet. Why are there ionic storms? Oh, the radiation. Oh, God. This is why I was never a meteorologist. Kind of going on and on and on and on. Fascinating work, but it's not as interesting as astrophysics.
So
Cadence is frantically doing the homework.
Okay. Yeah, you're looking through it. You're basically coming across what the kite has reported back is that they have come across ionic pulse waves and ionic plasma storms, and that it is specially outfitted to withstand those. All of the fail safes would have to completely be borked for them to be dead right now. But you imagine, Captain, based off of what you're looking at, that the crew of the auxiliary platform is probably still alive, but it's probably pretty harrowing down there. They've been dragged along the surface of this mid-atmosphere storm for the past week. And at any moment, that tractor beam can fail. And at any moment, the power systems that are keeping that tractor beam going could pull from one of the reserves. And you can hear the ticking clock.
Yeah. All right. So we've all got the reading. We know the hazards. Do we have any ideas? And if it's okay, I would like to. I have an idea he would like to spit out, but I'm wondering if I might roll to see if he's aware if this is a good idea or not before he presents it.
You don't have to roll for it if you want to pitch it to me. Yeah.
The idea is one of the issues that we're going to face is the plasma, the storm.
Mm-hmm.
And in that thinking, especially because we have something named the kite, did some reading on human history and the mythology of Benjamin Franklin.
Okay.
If we were to put a lightning rod on a bird, would that attract the plasma to the bird rather than the pride long enough for the pride to use its tractor beam to start to resolve the issue?
Lightning rod on a hot rod.
So it's not a... To answer your question, since this is all above table, I could tell you that the pride is going to be much more capable of withstanding any damage from those lightning strikes. If it's possible that one of the peregrines could do that, but it's also a much greater... There is a much greater chance that ship will be instantly destroyed if it gets hit by one of these lightning strikes.
Okay.
Is the only problem. So it's kind of a high risk, kind of high reward situation. The pride could technically do it. It's just going to require some piloting. It's going to require, if the pride wants to use the tractor beam to try to compensate and bring it back, because here's the biggest problem for you, Captain, is that this auxiliary station is scale 6. That's the big problem, and you are a scale 5 ship. So the pride can do this, but it's going to eat into reserve power, and it is a dangerous tug of war in a very dangerous situation where you don't want to lose power. You know what I mean? So right now, the best way to get around the ball lightning and stuff is probably just flying it. But if you want to create a lightning rod, that's something to look into. But if you attach it to a small ship, it's a high risk, high reward situation. If it gets hit, whoever's flying it does not have very good odds.
High reward. That's what I heard. I heard high reward.
How many probes do we have aboard?
You have one for every Falcon.
Oh no, like
Normie probes.
like a normie probe,
Oh,
not a gadget.
So Star Trek Adventures doesn't really track your torpedo or probe allotment. It just kind of tracks on how many of you've used.
Got it.
So much like in this case, probes, you can just keep using them.
Okay.
It's not a big deal. Yeah.
In the line of thought of lightning rod, what are the chances we could equip a probe with some sort of equal and opposite type of energy, a battery style, draw it away, at least kind of pull a curtain of the energy out of the area we're in, maybe? What are those? Actually, this is Caitlin now. What are those like see-through balls that have the little like electrode things that react to your... Yeah, like a plasma ball, whatever that effect is.
Right.
Kind of a thing. Like
something
that would draw
that
energy away.
Oh, this is Caitlin asking? Or?
Well, I mean, both. I mean, both. I just couldn't remember the name of that effect. But yes, back in.
Pavan kind of sits up in the chair a little bit, like he's interested in that idea, but waits for the captain to say something, but he kind of draws himself up as basically your lieutenant adds to your possible idea. I'm assuming at this point that this is all being discussed and surrounding character. Like, how can we use something to channel the lightning away from the situation?
Unmanned, and then use the fighters actually to their full potential, as opposed to as bait for ionic plasma.
Well, Pavan thinks about this for a second. He says, actually, that has a lot of merit. If we could, we would need to program a lot more than just a single probe. We would need
a curtain of them.
I would say at least 10. Bare minimum 10. If we could get 20, because if we periodically fire them, we could periodically draw the lightning away. It's possible, Captain. At the very least, we would make it easier on ourselves. if it's not a complete fix.
And would that create enough of an opening for our birds to get to transport the individuals out of the station?
At that point, cutting in before Pavin can even answer, Raleigh says, "There's no way of knowing. It's pure chaos. The ionic lightning is completely unpredictable. Anything out there is going to be considered a conductor. So it's possible that it'll buy us a little more time, but it's also incredibly difficult to predict."
I'm gonna look at Commander Cadence.
Look, Captain. End of the day, the probes are rated to fly in Atmo. The Griffins are rated to fly in Atmo. The Pride is a very lovely spaceship.
This is gonna need to be faster than 8 minutes.
We could have gone so much. Yeah, we can do it.
Prove it. All right, everyone. We'll start on the development of the probes. Let's make this thing a shining beacon for the lightning. You get those people out of the station, and then we'll play a game of tug of war and get this thing righted.
My engineering team, Captain, it will be on standby. I'm guessing we're probably going to have to take a bit of a walk on the surface of the station to repair this gravimetric regulator thingy. It looks like the auxiliary gravimetric harmonic manifold that's completely blown, which will require a 4-person team to replace it. Those things are rather large.
With the ionic storm transporting you on the hull.
That's not a problem, thanks to the station still having power. The kite is a problem, but the main station shouldn't be an issue, so long as the repair goes okay.
And you are muted, Caitlin.
I'm muted. How far in Atmo is are the two of them? Are they close to the closer to space? Are they halfway between surface and?
Yeah, the first station is actually I would be accurate to call it closer to the stratosphere, so it's pretty high up.
Okay,
and it does not suffer the worst effects of the storm at all. It's still dangerous and it's still a lot of activity, but it's not anywhere near as bad. The kite, of course.
Yes.
The kite's the problem because it's in the maelstrom basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a few kilometers underneath the station proper.
Would you call it halfway, or is it not that deep into the atmosphere?
It's really not terribly deep into the atmosphere.
Okay. Because I guess it is a giant. It is
it's a gas giant. I'm sorry, an ice giant. That's correct.
Ice giant.
So, but it's really not terribly deep into the atmosphere now.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And our main priority with the kite is just one more time.
Personnel.
Getting them out.
It's right. The station is holding it with a tractor beam. All their power is going to keeping it from falling to the surface of the planet.
All right, yeah. And
so that's the challenge. If possible, please rescue the rest of the station. If that is possible, do not risk the ship for it. But if it's possible, that's what Starfleet is asking for. There is inevitably beaming out in an ionic storm. There is no record of anyone ever being able to achieve that. Ionic energy at that level, even at close range, is dangerous for transport. So right now, that's the challenge, is how are you going to get them out, or do you just try to pull the host station out? What's going to be the plan? That's the challenge you guys got.
Okay. Sam, do you have an idea?
I was just rereading Transporter Relay Race. I think we will be able to help there.
Gonna need to be faster than 8 minutes, but it's worth a try. I think that's no. This is no RB wishy-washy. Jared that's the play. Birds, get to the kite, get those people safe.
They'll also be able to get us a closer look and the relay jumping. Any other features of your wing that would maybe assist in this? We haven't had a chance to try yet.
We have the bandwidth to send through one form of signal at a time, really. They're small ships and we haven't optimized the networking. So I can send my transporter, will benefit from the transporter, but right now at least we don't have the network throughput to also get a good picture from the sensors if we sent that alongside.
And the Gidget drones? Do we know their capacity yet?
They're helpful if they're local, but if I get a prototype lightning struck, I will experience the delightful sensation of being flayed alive by an admiral.
Likely a thing to want to avoid, yes.
I have found myself so motivated, Commander.
Engineer, give me updates on these sensors as he's begin developing them.
Will do.
Commander, prep your wing. I'll give you word when it's time to fly.
Aye, sir.
And Commander Taving, put us in a position when you're ready. When we're ready.
Aye, sir.
We have our instructions. Let's go to work.
As everyone's being dismissed, you see Hata lean over as you're all about to leave in a very hushed tone as to not shame him in front of everybody. Commander Hata leans over to Lieutenant Commander Pavin and says, "The correct reply is aye, Captain." And the commander just says, yes, ma'am. Aye, Commander.
Just gonna look at Hata and just give a nod, and
Hata gives you the most pleasant smile, like she doesn't even know if you heard her. She just smiles back at you and nods.
I will go to the chair and observe the progress.
So, sitting down in the main chair, just as you swivel towards the main view screen, you hear, just as you sit down and swivel into your workstation there at the helm, Naveen, you guys are entering the system, bringing the ship out of warp. You hear the engines coming down from burning at warp 8 for the past 8 hours. Finally, just
entering system, Captain. We're here.
We are.
On the view screen. As soon as you guys come out of the view screen, it goes from this sort of the tactical readout of things that are happening on board the ship. It changes from the station to place to this magnificent image of an ice giant lit by its own yellow sun, as well as the brilliance of 1,000 newborn stars that make up the stellar nursery around the system itself. And so great are the numbers of these newborn stars that it literally looks like diamond chips have been thrown up into the air and have frozen in the curtain of night. You just see them shining all over, and it casts the light. It has a refractory effect on the planet before you as you start to enter into orbit.
What was the system's name again? I'm sorry.
The system is the Muni Kappa system.
Thank you.
And so you guys see this ice planet in front of you. The light that it's caught by, the light that it's catching of the stars kind of makes the entire ice giant in front of you look like a perfectly spherical sapphire that is just encased in a swirling maelstrom of Arctic mist. You can see these from orbit. You can see lightning strikes flashing in these thick clouds that even from up here look like they are hundreds of miles thick. There's no sign of the surface of the planet, just these hurricane-scaled clouds swirling and mixing above. Just from a cursory scan, you can actually hear from the sign station of Raleigh whistle. as you see sensor readouts start to pop up, indeed confirming the environments. But as that happens, Hata says, Captain, from this range, I can actually establish a very weak audio contact with the station.
Patch it through.
Okay, Hata is going to make an operations check here. So I'm going to roll for Hata, who is technically operating. Since it's a main character without a player, I'm going to treat them as one downgrade. So I'm going to treat them as a supporting character operating as though they were controlled by a player. So I will have this.
Does Pride get to assist?
Pride does get to assist, yeah. So for this, the Pride is going to roll comms plus engineering.
I can grab it.
That's a 13 you need to roll under.
Okay, and then Hata needs to roll.
Rainbow die, let's go.
That. Need 2 dice, please. This is going to be operations. So, oh yeah. Okay, so let's see. And Hata rolls. Wow. 2 19s. That apparently is the number of the night. It's a good thing I didn't spend threat to raise the threat level on that.
Oh my god.
I don't know if I've ever seen 2 19s on a D20.
Jeez.
Hata shakes her head as she is dealing with a frustrating conundrum of not being able to break through the interference. She says, Captain, I can tell that someone is there, but I cannot establish any meaningful signal. It'll sound like static, but they are receiving us. I don't know if they'll be able to hear us.
Understood. Let's hear the static.
She brings on the audio of the bridge. You just hear that gentle white and after a moment you hear and that's it.
Ivrali, is there anything that you can do to strengthen the signal?
Just a moment, Captain. Let me see if I can. The only thing I could suggest doing, Captain, is using reserve power to boost power to the comms and see if we can't break through the storm.
Captain, how do we think the universal translator does with Morse code? Maybe we can do less than audio.
That's programmed to the computer. It is old, though. You would have to, just to give you an idea, that kind of code is so old that you would have to hope that they can understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because the head of the station is a Vulcan. So it's possible that they have that encyclopedic knowledge of what it is they're hearing.
Oh. The head of the station's a Vulcan.
Mm-hmm.
Commander, sounds like you have an idea. Execute.
All right. Hata turns and starts moving reserve power from the USS Pride is going to spend its reserve power. So the way this works is you pull up the rules for reserve power here. I love, this is one of my favorite changes to Star Trek Adventure 2nd Edition. Getting rid of the PowerPoints and just making it reserve power, yay or nay. So good.
I mean, who wants a PowerPoint, honestly?
Overrated.
More into a power play, but yeah.
Right there with you.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, this is going to essentially. Okay, reserve power. Vessels can generate massive amounts of power, but that much power is used for warp systems, blah, blah, blah. Okay, finite. Okay, so you're rerouting power. This is on page 303. So you're rerouting power to the comms from reserve. That is an operation, so that is going to be Hata doing this. Requires reserve power. You rewrite power to a specific system. The chosen system gains power, which will apply to the next action using that system. Applied back on one page, A185. Okay, that's where I just was. This is definitely like running in circles.
Oh my
So
God.
taking a look at the Pride does have secondary reactors.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which does say once per scene, when you take the reroute power action, you may spend 2 momentum to immediately regain the use of reserve power.
Oh, nice.
So, how we feeling about that, gang?
Given that I'm going to want those in the sensors soon enough.
Okay. The character may reroute power as a major action to divert reserve power to a specific system. If the action is completed, the next time the ship uses that system to assist on a task attempt, the ship's assist die is counted as if it rolled a 1. However, each complication rolled counts as 2 complications instead of a single, as excess power can overload a system and cause damage. So we're going to roll again. The complication range is going to stay where it's at, but if you do hit complications, is bad.
Okay.
But I'm going to actually make this a roll here. So Hata is going to have to roll this again. I'm going to jump up the difficulty by 1 because she's attempting the task twice, basically using the same rolls here.
Can she buy a die as a acting support character right now?
She can't. I don't think she can do that. I don't think support characters can. Well, if they're controlled by a player, hold up. Hold on. If you're controlled by a player, you might be able to.
Because if you're counting her as being a player,
no,
right now.
She can't. She cannot do that. But she can burn a value.
Okay.
That she can do.
We have a directive.
Yeah. So she'll burn that directive value then. So, just so we are clear, so burning a value, she's going to, I think what she's going to do is basically boost the die roll here. Well, I'll let y'all decide. What would you like her to do this? She's basically burning a determination spend.
Mm-hmm.
So
you can spend a determination on a task roll after. She's doing it before any dice are rolled. But after you've purchased any extra dice, to select a single d20 and set that as though it was counted as a 1 critical success.
What's the difficulty?
The difficulty with an increase of 1 is 4. Because ionic interference trait is 3, and then I increased it by 1 because of what she's doing.
So with the power boost or rerouting power we just did, that counts this roll as the ship roll gets an automatic 1. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically. So since you rerouted power, the ship roll So then the ship roll gets an automatic 1. It means that she needs to succeed on the roll for that to kick into effect. If she burns determination, then she automatically gets it, and you get.
That's what I was going to say.
You don't even have to roll.
Yes,
but you still have to roll the die though.
Yeah.
You still got a d20 to roll, but one of them counted as a 1. So I'm going to roll a single d20 for her.
Yeah.
And as a GM, I'm not going to quietly pray that she rolls a 20 because 2 complications sounds hilarious right now.
2.
And I roll a 4.
Sounds
so
like
you guys actually gain a momentum.
Yep.
And you see she reroutes power. You see Hata smile and says, "Captain, I've rerouted power. We have a signal. I can put them on visual right now."
Well done, Commander. Send them through.
Coming up, it's a lot of static. Waterfall of static all over the screen, and you see a face coming through. After a few moments, you see what looks like the face of an elderly woman denobulin. She appears on screen and says, "Do you read me, Pride?"
This is Pride.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, goodness. This is Babysitter Station. I'm so relieved to see you. What is your status? Can we get some help down here as soon as possible?
Absolutely. We've already formed a strategy in ensuring the safety of everyone aboard your station and adjusting the station. The tilt is nice, but I think we'd like to have you upright.
I'm happy to hear that. One of the members, I think, of your Starfleet arrived about a day ago, maybe a little less. We've not heard from him. He attempted to board the kite. We've been trying to reach him ever since, but we've been having trouble establishing contact.
Thank you. That will be like Chief Engineer Tech.
Yes, that's the one. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. What was that?
Oh, no, you're fine. Oh, no, I was just going to say that we'll take care of them. But thank you for the information.
You're welcome. I'm Dr. Vicina. Dr. Savet was killed when we lost power to the gravimetric converter in the station tilted.
If you're able, I would love for you to send information about your wounded, and we'll have our med bay primed and ready to receive you.
Understood. Come now. Cuts out suddenly.
Well, those seem like fine folks. Let's give them a hand.
That's a good button for the episode. So, two things before we call it a night here with this episode of the Last Excelsior. You technically completed a mission tonight.
Hey! Oh yeah,
yeah. You completed a mission tonight, and you did it with flying colors, which means I'm gonna
pride, obviously.
I'm gonna post up, but you guys are gonna get bonuses to your reputation roll. So I will give you guys heads up of what that's gonna be. And post that up. But yeah, with mission completion, with that kind of proficiency level, that's going to look really good on the record of the ship and on your personal records. So well done. Nice roll in there. Next Monday is Noirville. So you guys are going to have to wait 2 weeks before you see how this mission goes down.
No!
So next Monday night, you're going to have to show up for the Marvel Universe, but Noirville Universe rather. But we will see you. I will see you guys, not this Monday, but the Monday after. In the meantime, go have fun being superheroes. Until then, friends, as always, to the Ox crew and to everyone who has supported us, I just randomly need to say it from time to time over these years. Thank you so much. Perhaps it's because we randomly rolled up an appearance from the Sally Ride tonight that got me all nostalgic. But thank you for all the years you've supported us. Ox crew, we love you. We will see you again. Until then, hailing frequencies are closed. Thank you.